Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play cast brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man, and this is episode 397. 397. We're almost there, almost to episode 400. Holy cow, episode 400. Episode 400. Today is July 30th, Friday. We're doing the show live, twitch.tv/MMOBomb. Hopefully sometime you can come and make it live if you're watching on YouTube or on MMOBomb.com. We've got chat here ready to go. I'm sure they'll be chiming in on a bunch of the different topics today. We're going to be talking about, predictably, some Guild Wars 2. We've got some more rumors for you. Bless Unleashed did decide to go ahead and do Founders Packs for the PC version of the game. So yeah, there's that. All that and more. Joining me to go over it, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, and I'm not pushed to talk. So,
Takal 2399 joining us live. Welcome.
wow. They also have bombs too.
Throw that follow. During this show, it is possible that we will surpass 2,900 followers.
Ooh.
It is possible. Also on the line, Ms. Quinlan Bowers. What's up, Q?
It's been a wild week here.
It has.
We've had people in and out of the house, fixing the bathroom and doing. By the way, if there's really loud noises at some point, it's because there's people outside cutting down trees outside the house. So there's that.
He's got the lumber yard.
We've got so many trees, and it's so weird because the way they built when they did the yard, instead of landscaping, they just plunked trees down everywhere in the yard. God. And it makes no sense whatsoever. And now there's just these massive trees all over the yard that need to be culled. So
I got one that at some point I'm going to have taken out, but it's fine right now. It's just too close to the house, and I'm worried about the damn thing falling at some point.
That's the big thing. The ones that are closer to the house, the branches are just all the way out and over the top.
Yeah, put shit on your roof all the time. Let's slide over and get started with the news. Well, it finally happened, gang. It finally happened. This week, we got the reveal. Now, we knew the expansion for Guild Wars 2, End of Dragons, was going to be delayed. It was originally supposed to launch later this year. Now it's pushed back into February of 2022. We already knew that, but we were still waiting for the big reveal so that we could get some information about what we were going to be doing in Cantha. I mean, this was it, Jason. This was, before this expansion was announced, we had a question of the week that said, what would it take for Guild Wars 2 to get you back in game? And that was overwhelmingly the most popular answer was Cantha. Mm-hmm. And you speculated that, yeah, it would kind of maybe make sense if the next expansion went there, since we already had this in Thorns and all that, all the other expansions. So maybe, yeah, possibly. And then we got confirmation. Now we have more details. Does End of Dragons mean the end of Guild Wars 2, or at least the primary storyline? I mean, that seems to be a question bouncing around. Like, Final Fantasy XIV keeps getting that question bounced around, and the answer is unequivocally no. Please stop asking. I would imagine, as a sideline fan of Guild Wars 2, that the answer is probably the same here. But let's turn it over to you. You got a little bit of a special. You watched the stream, did the special preview article. Take us through some of the key features, and then let's talk about them.
Well, to answer your first one, they did unequivocally state that no, this is not the end of the game. So that much at least is certain.
There we go. All right. Whew.
Yeah, all right. It's not over after
Not
this.
going anywhere.
Yeah. So yeah, End of Dragons is going to be the next expansion. Like I said, coming out in February. It's going to take people to Cantha. And in terms of story, we didn't really get practically anything on it, other than to say that for all the stuff that had been going on in the rest of the game, like the other Elder Dragons going down and the fall of Balthazar, the one human god, they said that even though Cantha had been separated from the rest of Tyria, they said that they'd been keeping track of everything that happened and how all these events affected Cantha. So there will be some impact of all the other things you've been doing over the last few years that impact Cantha and will change it from how it was back in the original Guild Wars Factions expansion where we first saw Cantha back in 2006. But in terms
Doesn't
of
that
story,
seem like a little weird though? Like how were our actions affecting them if we couldn't get there and presumably nobody there could get here?
listen, Mister doesn't know the story at all.
There's obviously a question mark at the end of that sentence.
This is the point. See, if you follow the story, you know that the Elder Dragons are like magic personified, and when they die, which we've killed a couple, that magic gets spread out all throughout Tyria and like gets into other dragons or whatever. So clearly, that sort of thing happens also in Cantha. Like, whatever kind of wacky stuff went off there is. It's sort of like if you had I guess it's not right, but if you had like a walled city where no one got in and there was a nuclear blast 50 miles away, it's still going to affect that city, that sort of thing.
Okay. All right, so it's a magical nuclear dragon blast. There
you go.
it. Got it.
Yeah, basically that sort of thing has been happening. So who knows exactly what those effects have been. The crazy thing, of course, I never played Factions. It's the only Guild Wars base expansion that I never played. So I don't know practically anything about Cantha. So I'm not going to recognize what the changes are or anything like that. Of course, other people are geeking out. He said that when Colin Johansson was on the stream, he said he was talking with a content creator back in like 2014. The guy was like, Cantha win? Cantha win? So this is obviously a big, big deal for Guild Wars fans. Less of a big deal for me, but I'm hoping that they'll make it.
It was the number one by far.
Which we could talk about that later, about the future still later. But to talk about the expansion now, yeah, they're going to have new mounts, or not new mounts. They're going to have new masteries. Some of them related to, it looks like the skiffs they're going to have. They're going to be like little water vehicles you can have that go in the lakes and rivers and so forth. So you can go fishing off the side of them. There are multiplayer mount. There's going to be a multiplayer mount, the Siege Turtle. There's going to be what else?
That's new to Guild Wars, isn't it?
Yeah, that is a new thing. And I talked to my partner about that when we played WoW a while back. They let me ride a sidecar in their motorcycle, so I kind of compared it to that. So yeah, you can definitely ride sidecar.
That is going back.
Yeah,
that is going back.
Yeah, well, they'd actually forgotten that we'd done that. I had to bring up screenshots like here, we actually were in a motorcycle together. But yeah, what else is going to be there? What other new stuff? Might be about the new elite specializations. Of course, it's going to be one for every class. They showed off
and that's pretty expansion.
Normal. Oh yeah, that's an expansion feature. That's not something they do otherwise. Yeah, they did it in the first two as well. They showed off the Virtuoso, which is the Mesmer specialization, which Mesmers in Guild Wars 2 usually have clones that they send out and do various stuff. This one will replace the clones with daggers, basically. So you just have little daggers floating around your head, and you send them off to pew pew people.
I like my Mesmer, but
you don't like anything. You only have the one level 80 that you don't do anything with. But yeah.
Hey, I had a legit level 80, and it was because of Game Breaker that I don't have it anymore.
Wait, what?
The
rules.
Did
Gary take your account away?
No. It was the rules on transferring and the costs associated with transferring at the time, and I wasn't on the Game Breaker Nation server, so I was like, fuck it, and I deleted and just started new.
Oh, that was...
Yeah. I was like, I'm not paying for this. In hindsight.
That was not the best choice.
I lost. I lost on that one. 3 editions of the game, I should say, not founders packs. These are the actual editions of the game. Jason, you and I talked a little behind the scenes. Yeah, there's like the $80 one with all these things and the gems, right, that they normally do, the ultimate one. And then the $55 deluxe that has all these different things, a skiff skin and, raptor mount skin and all that fun stuff. Base game this time for the expansion, $30. $30. If I remember correctly, I think the previous ones were $40.
I know the first one was. I know Heart of Thorns was. I'm not totally sure about.
Maybe somebody in chat that's a little more active than I personally am can chime in there. I just feel like when we both saw 30, we were like, that's pretty cheap, as far as
it actually comes with a few little perks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a a flame serpent weapon chest, which is going to be like a fancy weapon skin, Xing mosaic cape, and the Prodigy of Xing character title, and a shared inventory slot. So even for $30, you get
a
kind
boost.
Of perks that you think
and
are
the boost.
Yeah, level. If you've been playing a while, you got 1,000 of those already. But yeah.
I've gotten one with every expansion. So,
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
Well, even if you haven't, you get it for your birthday or whatever.
$30, not too bad. You were just
No.
thinking about Game Breaker last week, Raging Alcoholic. Good times.
I actually
good times.
think I used my Game Breaker coffee mug this morning.
Now, I know some people, Q, don't like the idea of having to buy the expansions, right? We've covered Guild Wars 2 since the original went free to play. And that's always been like the odd comment here and there on anything Guild Wars related is this isn't free because you have to buy the expansions. You have to buy the expansions. And we're kind of like, well, yeah, okay, fine. But the base game is free. It's not a trial. You can get the level 80. You can do the original main storyline all for free and stuff. And if you want to buy the expansions, go ahead and buy the expansions. By that same argument, like EverQuest isn't free and EverQuest 2 isn't free. And they will do this. I don't mind that model particularly. I know you're not generally like a huge Guild Wars gal. So let me take the question to you in that kind of direction. Do you segregate in your mind like free to play versus having to buy the expansions? Does it bother you? Do you think this is a good model, bad model when it comes to expanding your universe and potentially getting players to return?
Well, I mean, on the one hand, it does give, like, when you do those expansions, a set income stream, right? You're not like relying on hoping that people will like your cosmetics or whatever it is. So you've hopefully made up the cost of the development that went into the expansion. So in that sense, it's another way to go about it, right? Like I don't consider it any better or worse than anything else.
Yeah, and chat
Like, if I were to
asking, like,
compare it-
is there a game that gives them away? Yeah, many. Like, you don't buy Neverwinter expansions. The modules
Path
are
of
just...
Exile,
Yeah,
Warframe.
Path of Exile is a big one. Warframe's a big one. Like, there are
Right.
plenty that you don't pay for the expansions at all. You might pay for some little bundle associated with the launch of that thing if you want the extra stuff, but as far as the content, no. Sorry, Q, go ahead.
Well, and like Genshin Impact, right, which is what I mostly play at this
Yeah.
point. You don't pay for any of the expansions. You do, however, pay for the battle pass, and you do pay for the little $5 thing that gives you primos every day. Like, so you're paying for those things, and every time there's a new expansion, there's a new battle pass, right? So it's almost like, and when I say new, I mean the same battle pass, just, restarted.
Just a new one of the same.
A new one of the same. It's fine for it because it just gives you an extra chance to get the same weapons for upgrades. But I mean, like I said, it's just a different way of doing it. And I think isn't so when they do the battle pass, so it's literally just the base game on, because obviously I haven't played Guild Wars 2 since it came out. Right when it originally came out, I tried it, and I just wasn't really big on the way it flowed, so I never hopped back into it. But when they set up, because I know some games when they do a new expansion, then they make the previous expansions free. Is this when you still have to buy every expansion, or is it like that where
what they do-
you can basically stay a step behind everybody else and continue to play for free?
They do have a deal where you can buy all 3 expansions, and it's $20 more to get the previous 2. So they're
Well,
not
I guess
exactly
that's the
free.
thing too, is they don't have as many expansions as other games.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, this is just
EVE
number
Online,
3.
right? EVE Online, which you buy the game, sort of, right? Because they changed their thing too, but you buy the game, but then the last 20-something expansions have all been free once you've bought the game.
Yeah,
Like-
it's like the most current is the
So-
one that they charge for. I'm with Nerdy too. I kind of dig this as a free to play model, whether it's Guild Wars, whether it's EverQuest, or anything like that, because often like there isn't anything in like I'm not a super like cosmetics guy, Jason, as far as skins for my mounts, and and while all these things are great, fine, if you want to give them to me, I'll take them. And maybe I'll find one that I like enough to, lock on as my favorites and stuff like that. But I don't think I have ever, even in Rocket League, like looked at a cosmetic item and been like, that is so cool, I have to have that. That's just not me. And so there's a high percentage chance that I might not spend much in your cash shop. I'm okay with, shelling out for the expansions to support the devs, just in the same way of there are things I buy on Rocket League to support psionics, not necessarily because I was like, oh, I gotta have that. So I kind of dig the model. And this trailer, by the way, is absolutely gorgeous. Not like I would expect anything different from ArenaNet and their art style, but it is absolutely a gorgeous trailer.
Yeah, I will give them credit for being one of like the prettiest games.
I've always liked that kind of like watercolor
pretty.
art style they have going.
Yeah.
And like the dragon in that trailer is insane.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Who is this, Jason? Like, who is this lady in the green stuff? And
They mentioned her name. I don't personally know her because, again, I don't know Cantha stuff at all. So I don't know exactly who that is. So yeah, I'm going to be trying to learn the lore along with everyone else. Well, not with everyone else, with the like 5% of people who probably haven't played like Guild Wars 1, 8,000 hours. Because at this point,
oh, it's
know,
Nerdy saying it's a new character. I didn't know who it was, and I was like worried because I was like, I mean, I don't know the micro lore of Guild Wars, but I've read the novels. I've experienced most of the storyline. I've watched the season stuff that I didn't play because I do like the story they tell. And I felt really bad watching the trailer. I was like, I don't know who this is.
Yeah, I knew the dragon. I knew who Arena was, but that was about it. Also, I just looked it up, by the way. It looks like this was the same pricing setup they had for Path of Fire.
Oh, really?
30, 55, and 80, according to the wiki.
Wow,
so.
okay. All right.
So they got a lot of pushback on the first expansion because it was like $40 and like $50 if you get like extra character slot, and they got a lot of shit for that. So I think they kind of like toned it down a bit afterwards. But I mean, I'm a cheapskate. I'm one of the cheapest gamers you'll ever find. I like free to play stuff. I like playing it as free as possible. Like for all the people talking about Blizzard stuff and so on, I was like, I bought like a couple loot boxes in Overwatch a few months after it first came out, and that's the last time I spent money on a Blizzard product.
I will say that Guild Wars 2 is a game that I personally usually, when their expansion comes out, do buy some gems in because they ArenaNet typically sends us copies of their expansions. At least they have the previous two. And so I usually do shell out to buy some gems there since they send us the expansions.
I was just going to say that even as a cheap-ass gamer that I am, I don't mind spending money on an expansion every 2, 3, 4 years, whatever. That's fine. I get the same thing in my for my Paradox people, for the people like Crusader Kings and that sort of stuff. Some of them are complaining that the upcoming expansion is like $30. Like, oh, what? They just brought a game out last year. Why are they putting out an expansion this year? It's like, dude, deal with it. Once
part
a
of
year
our
or
problem
so,
is though
spending $30, I can deal with it.
Part of our problem is that we still remember where the only option was paying
$15 a month.
$15 a month for MMOs, or just in the sense of buying games in general, dropping $70 every freaking time unless you wanted to wait till it was like super on sale. Right?
Yeah.
So
we're also old enough to remember when you got to check in the mail for beta testing something.
I've also got
paying them.
Exactly.
I have discs. I have CDs with or DVDs with the Mines of Moria, the first Lotro expansion that I got to do my preview. I had to
Look,
do that
Nasagra already knows that I'm going to jump in expansion time, just throwing some info at me. Mike, I would recommend getting some of the quality of life stuff, like the copper feed salvage Matic, and place it in the shared inventory slot. It's a huge quality of life improvement. Good news, already have it because Mr. Jason Winter had recommended that as a quality of life improvement for me when I had gotten back into it not too long ago.
What I suggest is playing your level 80 and taking them out of Silver Waste.
They're still in. So which one?
I don't know.
There's two.
Like.
There's two, and I have a third boost just sitting there. However, I will say this, right? Like my two core MMOs are Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft. And when my World of Warcraft sub runs out this month, I ain't renewing. So there's a slot. There is a slot for a like PSO2, New Genesis. I dabble in, like those are the dabblers. But the core has been 14. It may be ESO, right? I may finally finish catching up my PC Necro Healer to my PlayStation account Necro Healer. It may be ESO. But come February, if things don't change on the Blizzard front, to my liking, maybe it's Guild Wars 2. Maybe it's Guild Wars 2. Is there stuff you're doing right now to like catch up and get ready, Jason, or are you just kind of I'll do it when it launches?
Yeah, they still have that thing going on where if you do the old story content, there's like gonna be about 25 different, like that's how many different updates they have, which is another part too. To look at all the content they put out for free. Yeah, being able to, and then shelling out $30 every couple of years, I think is hardly a huge sacrifice. But for each one of those story chapters, basically you get there are about 20 or 25 of them total, and for different levels of that, like one prize you get at 4 if you complete 4 of them. Another you'll get if you complete 10. 10 is the good one. That's make it a precursor, which you can use to make a legendary in the expansion. And then there's like big bags for I think like a 24 slot bag for 16 and something else for 20. I don't remember what it is. But I'm going through all those as well, so I'm getting those. I still haven't caught up actually with all the current story anyway, so I need to do some of this. So there's still plenty to do in there if you are looking to get back into it and looking to get even like a little bonus once the expansion comes out.
Q, it doesn't do it for you though, huh? It's just not your flavor of MMO.
I mean, it's been years, and I think if I remember correctly, the issue that I had with it was because it was so open that I would wander into areas that were just way, way too high level for me without realizing I had done it. And there was no real in the early stages, there was no real direction going, hey, this is where you need to be. I don't know if they changed that, but it was kind of a thing that was frustrating.
They made that a little better.
Right, because it was just so there wasn't a signpost going, okay, you're now entering this, like you can go here if you want, but you're now entering super uber dangerous area. I don't mind it per se. Like I would know in EVE Online when I was entering low sec, right? And I would do it anyway, but I really didn't enjoy it being a surprise.
Just have
look at the first mob.
Flash a red screen. Turn back! Turn back! There's your dragon though, Q. That is gorgeous.
I mean, it is pretty, and I love dragons.
It looks very Yu-Gi-Oh though.
Like, you can get a statue of her, like a crystal statue of her. That's another thing they do. For $120, you can get a crystal statue of her.
And that's just the statue.
How big is it?
8 by 10, like 8 inches by 10 inches. I don't remember which way is which, but
I mean that's not terrible. I paid $40 for a 3D printed Fenrir from Smite, so, and he was like, yay big.
Yeah, Kira, you're absolutely right. Inventory is the reason Jason will not play ESO. Yeah.
Yep.
Just can't do
I don't want to pay $15 a month to have decent bags.
Can't do
Sorry.
it. Can't do it. Well, good luck. I mean, we'll be keeping tabs on this. I'm sure we're going to get more information in the coming months here as we get closer to February. Definitely looking forward. Let us know in the comments what you're looking forward to in Guild Wars 2. This is what a lot of you wanted, Cantha. So now tell me why. Why?
And tell me what's going to come next, because now they've mined all their old content. So what do they do now?
Yeah, Kiri, it does. To me, it does look like Blue Eyes White Dragon. It looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous. Before we get to some other stuff here, we got a couple of rumors for you again. Couple more rumors. Let's just stoke the fires of the rumor mill. Let's and we'll judge how likely we think these things are. The first rumor, Q and Jason, is that FIFA 23 from EA will be free and offer cross-platform matches. Can we just say that I feel like if they don't have cross-platform matches by the 2023 version of this game, which will come out in late 2022, that they're just way behind. So I don't think that's much of a rumor. That should just be a thing. But the rumor is it will be free to play. Now, we already know that Pro Evolution Soccer, formerly PES, is going free to play. They're doing a whole new model with eFootball. And keep in mind, this is not this year's FIFA release. This will be next year's FIFA release. So I almost feel like somebody at EA was like, shit, did you just see what Konami did? Damn it. All right, make next year's free.
Yeah, it's a little weird to me actually, because what was the other game? The Pro Evolution Soccer. I mean, I don't play sports games, but the Pro Evolution Soccer, I'd never even heard of it.
Oh, yeah, then yeah, you're just out of it's huge. Yeah, PES is huge.
FIFA, I know what is. Like FIFA is the one, like obviously, especially with EA's constant advertisement and everything else. I know what FIFA is, and so in my brain it was just like, well, it seems really weird that the game that like people like me who don't deal like that they're just like jumping on the free to play. I also find the Pro Evolution Soccer renaming thing to be just like, was somebody sitting there staring at an e-machine?
Yeah, it's a terrible name. eFootball is
It's
just an
awful.
awful name.
It's awful.
Awful
And
name.
I don't understand that at all. But I mean, I guess, and it is one of those things where, like the benefit of free to play is that at least for a little while you get more players. You
Right.
may not consistently keep those players, but it does boost your player base to some extent, and you just hope it continues to boost your player base. So
Yeah,
I mean,
Raging Alcoholic in chat, Jason, saying, with the amount of money EA makes off of FIFA every year, I doubt it. My retort would be, they don't make the money on the box sale.
No,
I
don't.
think they would be willing to give up the box sale to increase the amount of people that are likely to get into like the FIFA Ultimate Team and loot box stuff, which we know is an exorbitantly high percentage of the revenue of that product, and kind of slap their competition in the face. You're going to go free? Well, fine. We'll make ours free. We make more anyway.
Yeah, I think this is absolutely a thing they could do and would just rake in on Ultimate Team. Get as many people playing Ultimate Team as they possibly can. And yeah,
There was a whole conference call we talked about on MMO Bomb where they specifically were like every aspect of
all
the
roads.
game. All roads. That's the term. All roads lead to the FIFA Ultimate Team. That's where they make the money and where they want you to spend the money. I think they'd be willing to cut the box price to do it, and almost kind of have to when your direct competition, who is dollar-wise not as big, but is you do have to consider them competition. They're not just in the same game space. They are competitors.
It does occur to me too that a letter before a word is that the trend these days? eFootball, X-Defiant.
X-Defiant. Yeah, that's another stupid-ass name. What a dumb
it's
name.
almost like they went back to the mid 90s to the mid early to 1995 to 2005.
Yeah.
And that's where the naming trend is coming from. Like,
put an I in front of everything, an E in front of anything, an X in front of anything.
Well, see, putting X on stuff makes it look really cool. We proved
that makes it
in
look
the
edgy.
90s,
Yeah.
right? It's super edgy, which
I'm sorry. When were the X Games established?
Should it actually have been X-Defiant X?
Yeah.
Yes.
As well.
Small
Yes,
X,
on each
capital
side.
X, Defiant, capital X, small X, 6969 is what the game should have been called. Tom Clancy's XX Defiant XX 6969 mofo.
Lord.
Well, and they did go with that.
I want that game.
That neon urban,
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very
graffiti
X Games
look.
looking. Yeah.
So
I told you. There's nothing makes me think Tom Clancy more than punk rock mosh pits. Nothing. The other rumor, and again, so hold on the FIFA thing, scale of 1 to 10, 1 never going to happen, 10 definitely going to happen. Jason, what do you give it?
I'll give it an 8.
I think that's fair. I think I would give it an 8 too. I might even go a 9, only because PES did it. Q, what about you?
I was thinking a 7.
7? So high probability from the panel here. Chat, let us know what you think. The other rumor is that PUBG might be going free to play. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds may be going free to play. Now remember, they kind of did this initially in some areas with PUBG Lite, right? Then they closed that down because it was also a bad game.
A little too late.
A little too late. But the rumor is that PUBG, this is from player IGN on Twitter, PUBG wants to go free to play. They're going to track player responses in a free to play week that is supposed to happen next month. Keep in mind, PUBG originally wanted to go free to play in 2019, but didn't get the player response they wanted at the time from 2019's free to play test. So they're going to run that test again and see how it pans out. Honestly, for me, Jason, when I saw this was kind of like, I am still to this day amazed that this hasn't happened already. Now, it's not one of those games that needs to by any stretch of the imagination, but it's huge player base and all that stuff. So even still to this day, maybe not as big as it once was, but still big. To me, this is like Rocket League, right? It doesn't need to go free to play, but it could probably benefit more from going free to play now than when it needs to go free to play. I just feel like PUBG's in that same bucket. You're not making the box sales you once were, So why try to continue to rake in box sales?
Mm-hmm. It's still big, but it's shrinking. You look at their player numbers on Steam charts. It's been going down. It's still like 150, 200,000 people on average, but well down from even a year ago, like when it was like 250, or 2 years when it was like 350 or 400. And I would rate this lower if not for the fact that Krafton does have their IPO coming up soon.
Yeah.
And when you're publicly owned, they want growth all the time, always growth, always getting bigger. And this is one way you do it. So
that and Q, the game space is a lot bigger than when PUBG started. You know, you had PUBG, and then after that you had Fortnite, and those were your two big dogs on the street for a long time. Arguably both still big dogs, of course, but now there are, medium-sized pooches on the block in like your Apex Legends and things like that. There is competition, viable competition in this space that I think does apply a little bit of pressure to PUBG.
About it is even if that competition weren't there, at some point you reach that max level of people that are willing to pay to get your game.
Yeah, the saturation point.
There's you just whereas they might go, well, I'm bored, I'll try it out if it's if it's there and it's free, and not like some restricted free to play weekend thing, because I personally am not about to download a game for a free to play weekend just to have to undownload it or uninstall it when it's done.
Undownload it. I like that term better.
Right. But just to uninstall it later because now I can't use it and it's taking up space on my hard drive and all of that. So, but if it's free, sooner or later people are just going to hop into it just to see, and they might actually like it, but that barrier to cost barrier is just not something a lot of people are willing to go in for, especially like you say, there is Fortnite, which is free to play. I know, like, my housemate's kid, who's 14, he won't go anywhere near Fortnite because I guess his crew just totally hates it, and they started out on PUBG. But there's a whole lot of other people that it really doesn't matter, and now there's even more options. So even if you hate Fortnite for whatever reason, you can go over here and try this and still not.
I mean, you have Call of Duty Warzone. I think that's a huge factor.
Oh, yeah.
That's a huge factor, and I think hearing that Battlefield is going to have some type of free mode as well. You have big dog competition coming from Activision and EA and stuff like that now. It's
not a Battle Royale, but even Halo Infinite.
Yeah. Free multiplayer on that front too. So I'm going to put this one at a 6 though. Not because I don't think they want to do it and that they've wanted to do it for a while, and I 100% believe that. But I feel like if you didn't do it a year or two ago because of your players' feedback, I can't see your players' feedback changing all of that much. Your players that play now that don't want free-to-play, did want free-to-play 2 years ago, the only thing that might have changed their mind in the last 2 years is a dwindling player base. And while you have that to a degree, you still have plenty of players. I don't know if it's changed drastically enough to change their minds. And if you were willing to listen to the audience feedback once, you're likely to listen to it again, even though I think it might be bad advice. So I'm going to put this one at a 6, Q. What about you?
Yeah, I think maybe a 5, because like it does seem weird to me that they're just going to be like, well, the players don't want it, so we're just flat out not going to do it, because part of the reason players don't want a game to go free to play is because they spent money on it, and they don't want other people to just be able to have access to what they have.
I've said it often.
Or less, right? It's like that argument of, oh, well, we shouldn't forgive student loans because I paid off my student loans, kind of thing, right? Well, I paid to get in here, so although there are ways to make up for that in games, right? Like you can give them all a bunch of special stuff.
Yeah, you slap a veteran status on them and give them, give them something.
Give them some in-game currency that they can use to buy things or whatever. Like there's ways to get around that. But if you ask players, they're never going to want you to go free to play when they've bought the game. So
what do you think? 1 through 10?
Probably a 5.
Probably a 5. Jason, you too? 5?
No, I'm going to give it a 7. I think it is more likely just because of that IP. Like that's the difference between last year and now, is going public and having to get more people into it, having to increase your revenue and show ways that you're growing your game. So I think it's going to be a little more likely And I'm just upset now that this was not the game that I predicted would go free to play in the year. Come on, Among Us, you can still do it.
Oh,
The Mystics in chat saying another
remember.
downside to going free to play is the fact that it just makes the game more accessible to hackers. They can just keep. Yeah, but when the cost to get into your game is like on sale for $6 more often than it's not on sale for $6, I'm looking at YouTube Black Desert Online. Yeah, that barrier is almost nothing for somebody that really thinks they could profitably make some money or by hacking the game and stuff like that. By the way, I know it's not free to play, but Crimson Desert delayed. Well, we assume it's not going to free to play based on the nature of it. Delayed indefinitely while they try to figure out some of the scope that they want to do with the game. I think that's classic Pearl Abyss, isn't it? Right? They announced 900 great things and then realized
something you should figure out before you start the game.
They're like, our game's gonna have this and this and this and this. We don't have any of it online yet. We'll see how long it takes. So now it's being delayed indefinitely. So enjoy Black Desert because Crimson Desert not going to be there for a while. Hey, Jason, want to buy a Bless Online Founders Pack? Oh, wait, that game's closed. You can't do that. That pissed a bunch of people off, though. That made some PC players mad when that happened. So, yeah. Sold the packs, closed the game, funneled some money to a totally different team that would not impact the development of Bless Online in any way, to develop Bless Unleashed, a console game in the same universe, not a remake, a totally different game, but in the same universe. Did use a lot of assets, though. They did that, and now here we come full circle with Bless Unleashed getting ready to launch on the PC, this console-based game on the PC next month, actually like a week from now, and there are PC Founders Packs for this game. I can't fathom the size balls you have to throw Founders Packs at PC players, having done what you did with Bless Online, even if it wasn't you, right? You're all under the huge big umbrella, but you're part of this team over here. It wasn't me that did it or our team that did it. But to come back and try and hit up Founders Packs on the PC, that takes gall. That takes absolute gall, I think.
I don't blame them for doing it.
I'm not surprised that they did it, by the way. Yeah, don't misunderstand. This
is how you make your money on a free-to-play game. You do that by getting the early adopters at the very least.
Don't buy these.
Yeah, see, that's the thing is, and I don't feel bad for them doing it because they're going to make the money sometime. I also don't feel bad for anybody who buys these. You deserve what you're going to get. If you haven't learned yet, tough. Give me $50 just because I want to. Just do that. You'll get just as much out of it.
Unreal. I submitted interview questions 3 weeks ago now for the
No
Bless
Holds
Unleashed
Barred.
team, and they told me no holds barred. I could ask whatever I wanted to ask. Nothing was off limits. That was their words for the interviews, because sometimes there is a topic we might want to hit, but they're like, we're not ready to talk about that publicly yet. Not because they're just, companies are trying to hide things necessarily. More often than not, there's embargoes and stuff involved in what we might like to ask. And so they 2 different times, they said, no holds barred. Any questions you want to ask. Any questions you want to ask. So let me give you just a flavor. I'm not going to read all of them to you. I'll give you a flavor, because I did want to go down this PC road. So to set it up, I said Bless Unleashed has had a not very usual development path. First, Bless Online launches, and we find out another team is working on this console game, Bless Unleashed. Then Online closes, and we fast forward to Unleashed, now getting ready to launch on PCs. Was a PC release always part of the long-term plan, or did this just seem like a logical step after the demise of Bless Online? Then I say you're getting ready to launch on a platform where many still feel burnt by Bless Online and the teams at NeoWiz. What are you doing to assuage the concerns of players that feel left out in the cold after buying into and supporting Bless Online just to have it shuttered and a different console game to be made while it all happened? You have Founders Packs for the consoles versions. Will you be selling Founders Packs for the PC version too? Keep in mind, I submitted these 3 weeks ago. They just officially released the Founders Packs on PC a couple days ago. Will those that purchase Bless Online PC packs receive anything if they opt to support Bless Unleashed? What's the team's response to posts and conversations online that call anything Bless-related a scam, given the not stellar track record of the IP over the years? And then I gave some just general questions, too, about the title and where it's going to go in the future and, converting a console version of a game to PC and, now your mouse and keyboard and stuff like that. It has now been 3.5 weeks, Jason. 3.5 weeks. I sent an update email to the interim the intermediary because it is through, got to go overseas and get things translated here. But they said, oh, yeah, I'm still waiting for the translations back. I'll let you know as soon as we have them. So still don't have them yet. I'm curious as to how they're going to answer those if they answer them. I can't make them answer. I can only ask the question. I can only ask the hard question, right? I can't make them answer it. We'll see. Don't buy these. The game's not that good. It's not that good. I know some people love it. Initially, I did like it. I can't go back on that, but I hit like 24, 25, and I was like, yeah, I'm done. This is too much nostalgia. It had just enough up until now. Now it's too much. You going to buy one, Jason? All right, I do want to get both of your takes on one last topic before we head over to the bombs. Jason wrote an awesome editorial. You can check it out on the site this past week, talking about how he's losing the battle against the fear of missing out or FOMO blues. Jason, what the hell does this mean? What were you talking about?
It means that so many games have like limited time stuff, usually in the form of like a season pass. That's a common thing now. And it's like, I can't dedicate myself to playing all the games I want and getting all the stuff I want for as long as some of these passes go and their limited time nature. Like last few months, I really burned myself out playing both Conqueror's Blade and Enlisted, going through all their passes, getting a lot of progress on both of those. And this time around, for their new season started at almost the same time, I'm not even playing Conqueror's Blade anymore. I stopped that like 3 weeks ago. I'm less into Enlisted because I just like, it's such an uphill grind to get all of those done, as well as everything else I want to do in other games, trying to get all the progress, knowing that I only have a limited amount of time to do a lot of those, which is something I like about Guild Wars 2, and that the stuff I was talking about, the little things where you can get the stuff for the expansion stuff, there's no time limit on that. I can do those whenever. They're available forever. So I like that I can pick those up whenever I need to. I'm a few sessions behind on it, but I don't care. I know it's still going to be there, so I'm still playing that and not playing as much with the games where I have to play in a limited amount of time to get certain stuff and get to the higher levels of the battle pass or whatever, which is where the good stuff lies or whatever. So I don't know. I hear you when you were talking about earlier about how my main game is XIV and maybe I'll get into Guild Wars 2 and I play Phantasy Star on the side. I play a little of this, a little of that. I'm thinking Elder Scrolls. You're like, maybe I'll get back into that. And I'm just like, that would be the same kind of thing. Like there are so many games out there now.
Yeah.
You can't just dedicate yourself to one and grind out the battle pass. Unless you're a crazy guy who plays 4-6 hours a day or whatever. You can't do that in multiple games. And I think more games need to realize that is the case now. They can't expect players to want to play this all the way through for nothing but 2 months, 3 months, however long the battle pass goes.
Yeah,
because there are other options.
I think if you look at my gaming habits when I'm doing it for fun, right? Not when I'm doing a first look or I have to play this game for this weekend and 5 streams to get enough for, a gameplay action video or whatever. Casually for fun. I probably buy less battle pass type stuff now than I did 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And granted, availability is also different in the time period, so I don't discount that. But the games that I played that I would have bought a battle pass like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I don't buy battle passes in now for exactly that reason. Now, I'm not a fear of missing out person. I'm like, oh, you got that skin? No, sorry, I don't fall for your psychological bullshit, X company. I don't care. You'll bring it back, and if you don't, I'm not missing anything anyway. But that does feed into like addictive personalities or anxiety-driven personalities. a psychological ploy that is done intentionally. And just because it doesn't work on me doesn't mean we shouldn't point that out. That is exactly what it is. Exactly what it is. I just buy less of them now for exactly the same reason, Jason. I don't have the time to invest in 5 different games and get their battle passes to level 50. Right. I just don't. Now, I personally don't care. Q, you play a game quite a bit that does, maybe not as egregious in some ways, but Genshin Impact has an event every freaking week. Like, every other really week, there is some event going on in that game. Do you ever get that feeling with Genshin that you find yourself playing it when you'd rather actually not be playing it just to make sure you get some event done or some reward done?
So I guess I'm a little weird. There are things like when they did the mini Sealies, the little floaty pets. I actually ended up not getting that because what I needed to do to get it was just not stuff that I was really in the mood to be doing. But the way that game is designed, like there's like I said earlier, there's the battle pass, and it's a much smaller battle pass, and also the important item, the item that you're really trying to get is in the middle of the battle pass. So you don't have
conveniently, you could just buy some of those tiers in most of these games.
You can buy like
just,
10 of those
just throw them $20, Jason. Mm-hmm. Now no more fear of missing out. You got it.
Right. But the other stuff that, like, for me to get, like, say the gliders, the gliders for each of the cities, you have reputation things that you do for each of those, but it's going to be there forever. I can take as long as I want to do it to get the gliders or the recipes or whatever is in the rewards for each of those reputation things. So that's not really a huge deal to me. Like, I think the biggest FOMO thing for most people on that game is the banners, right? Where you're rolling trying to get this character, this 5-star character that's only going to be available for a limited amount of time and won't be available again for a while. Like, I've seen a lot of people complain about that particular thing in the game, but I'm one of those people that if I'm playing a game and it frustrates me or whatever, I will just get up and walk away from it and not touch it for like 5 days. And I do that with Genshin Impact too. I don't play it. Sometimes I don't play it nearly as much as you would think, like, oh, this is her main game. She plays it every day. No.
And I'm usually like that too, but I hadn't played Conqueror's Blade for a while, and I wanted that stuff because you get the units, it's more than just a skin. That actually is a gameplay aspect of the thing. And I was like, I want to get these. If I don't get them now, they're going to be tougher to get later because that's how they used to do things. They at least made that a little better, but even if I go after those, I'm going to fall behind the other stuff. So it was like,
Wilfredo in chat. The other thing is when you collect a portion of what you need to get these, whatever items, and then the window closes.
No, the annoying thing is when you actually do the stuff to get your fancy Shamrock outfit, and then they take it away from you. That's the absolute
He's still
worst.
Bitter. He's still so bitter. I knew that was going to come up.
I am
Shot
glad
online.
I don't even think about it. No,
Shot online.
It was Winning Putt.
What? No, there was a recent game where I thought they might be doing that, and I was just like, there was something, I can't remember which game it was. Oh yeah, it was and I was just like, yeah, I was so mad about this because they were giving it was when we were doing the giveaways.
When we did the giveaway for the summer pack, we emailed them 4 or 5 times because their documentation on how the Risa summer packs wasn't expressly clear. The way it was worded, it made it sound like all the stuff in the pack could only be used on Risa. And we were like, okay, yeah, we get why you don't want captains running around Starfleet in a bikini or anything. But like the Tribble pet and stuff like that, seriously, can that only be used on Risa? And it took like 4 emails for them to...
Tribbles aren't pets, they're tools.
Tools, sorry. It took them like 4 emails to figure out what we were asking. And then they were like, oh, yeah. That stuff you can use outside of Risa. And we're like, okay.
Right. Well, when I was first reading it, because I was the person who was actually supposed to do the stream.
Yeah, Wilfredo did a great job, by the way.
Yeah.
He's in chat.
I watched it.
I
watched it. Yeah, he did a better job than I probably would have, just because like they immediately clicked on the wrestling thing. And,
yeah.
But it
we got
really
email from the PR saying how good it was.
Yes, we did.
It like upset me when I was reading through the email and I saw it, because I went over to look at what the items were, and it's like, all right, and I showed Mike and I was like, look, this transcendent Tribble is literally trans pride flag colors.
Yep.
And then when we're reading, and Mike's like, yeah, but they're not gonna get to keep him past a week, and I was like, like that seems really cruel.
Yeah, and we
to
both
me.
had to read it. We were like 2 or 3 times. We're like, no, I mean, if you read it, that's what it leaves you thinking. And then when we asked the question, they were like, it says right here. And we're like, yeah, this is why we're asking, because it says right here. So, yeah, anyway, yeah. Speaking of the fear of missing out stuff, Bungie did, since we did talk about them in the season pass stuff, and they're making changes and for exactly this reason. Their transmog system, I do feel the need to just kind of point out in this topic. They have made changes to their transmog system to make that less grindy, cutting out one of the currencies entirely. So you don't need to farm up the bunch of things to get the bounties anymore to go on your transmog paths. You could just buy the bounties with Glimmer. So that's a good change, and wanted to point it out on that topic. Before we slide over to the weekly bombs, the finals are here, gang. 64 games have been whittled down to 2 for your votes. The voting opens today. It will be up for a week. We will look at the results and announce the winner on next Friday afternoon. Jason,
During the cast,
who made the finals?
well, who do you think made the finals?
I haven't looked, actually. I'm going to guess.
Chat,
I'm going to guess.
who do you think made the finals?
My guess originally was Warframe a couple of weeks ago. I'm sure they made it, right? They
Yep.
were going up against PSO2 in the semis, so I would assume Warframe won.
Yep.
Who were the other two? Dota? Was it Dota?
Apex.
Apex. And who else?
Who do you think?
I don't remember.
On it.
Who was Apex going against?
Path of Exile.
Oh, Path of Exile. Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. Well, then, yeah, I kind of go Warframe and Path of Exile. Then would be my
What a
guess.
surprise!
Is that it?
Surprise. Yes, that is it. Warframe and Path of Exile, as it ever shall be.
As it ever shall be. It is Windshark, Warframe versus Path of Exile.
Yep.
For your best free-to-play game in quarantine, voting is open now on mmobomb.com. The story's right in the banner. You don't have to scroll or anywhere. It's in the far right side of the banner. Just click it. It'll take you
Far
to...
left, actually. I re-upped the whole thing.
The whole banner? Okay.
Yeah,
So it's in the far left now. But right at the top of the homepage, mmobomb.com. Go vote. You can only vote once, but you can get all of your friends and fellow players to vote. Who's going to take it, Warframe or Path of Exile? That's all up to you. We'll have the answer next week. Keep in mind, you're going to want to stay tuned. We are closing in on episode 400. I've got some surprises planned for episode 400 already. We might need a few more cameras. I'm just saying. Might need a few more cameras. Might see some familiar faces. I don't know. We'll see how it all works out. 3 weeks away. Let's slide over and do the weekly bombs. Mr. Winter, you're up.
I'm going to give a dub-bomb to Stefan Marcinek. He is the founder and CEO of Assemble Entertainment, which is the company that makes Endzone: A World Apart. If you remember that survival game I was playing for a while. A bunch of other games as well, but that's the one I'm familiar with. So I got a press release from him, from Assemble, earlier in the week. And the press release title was, Who I Don't Want as a Customer. Which is...
That's not a normal press release.
No, it is not. No, it is not. And he says throughout this, but basically what he says is, what I do not like are idiots, or to put it more bluntly, contemptible defecatory orifices. And he says, if you are one of these people who can't accept others because they don't fit in your worldview, because, and he mentions everything, sexual orientation, gender, skin color, religion, etc., he says, I want to make it perfectly clear. I don't want you as a customer. I don't want to see you at our events or conferences, neither as a visitor or as a speaker. I don't want to have anything to do with you. So clearly this comes out, I think, in response to the whole Blizzard situation, everything that went on there. I think that's a large part of it. But it really is amazing to see a CEO of a game company just going off like that in an official press release. So dub-bomb to him, I guess.
I would agree. I'm going to give a dub-bomb to Magic the Gathering Arena for exploring some limitations, or exploring the lack of limitations, I should say, in the digital space. If you haven't seen it, even if you're not a Magic the Gathering fan, which I'm just passively want to keep one modern deck updated, and I don't really play Arena all that often, they are looking at, in their newest set coming up, having 3 keywords that really only work in a digital space, going very, Jason worded in the article, Hearthstone-y. And doing some neat things in a card game that you can only do in the digital space. And I like seeing that in such an established game. So, Double-Om, I like that kind of experimentation. Go ahead, Q.
I have a mixed A-bomb to bomb book for Doctor Who news this week. They've announced that the current doctor is leaving and we'll be getting a new doctor in. So, sad about the one, but excited about the other because that's the way Doctor Who works.
All right. From the
3
viewers.
seasons, right? Don't they always go 3 seasons?
No, it varies, but the newer ones, they typically go 3 seasons. With David Tennant, they did 3
obviously, what's his
seasons,
name?
and
Eccleston
then Eccleston was 1, but David, they did 3 seasons, and then a season that was like, here's a special for Easter, and here's a special for this, and apparently that's what they're doing with Jodie is the 3 seasons and then 3 specials.
From the chat, we've got Ninja Pandas with a dub-bomb to Sega, I think you meant, for Braver's release date, I'm assuming, for PSO2, so it'd be Sega. August. Guardian Veil, dub-bomb to the Ascent. I am reading so much good stuff about the Ascent, but I just don't know if it's a game that's in my kind of wheelhouse. I mean, I do like bullet hells and twin-stick shooters and stuff, so maybe. Kiri, A-bomb for Blizzard for the right reasons. You might hear that one a few more times. I'm just saying, you might hear that one a few more times. Obviously, a huge topic in news. We spent half an hour on it on Gaming Gumbo last week on Saturday on Ready Check Radio. No Gaming Gumbo this Saturday. It's Final Fantasy TCG pre-release weekend, so everybody has the weekend off because I'll be playing cards. But you can go and watch that Gaming Gumbo on Ready Check Radio for Jason and I chiming in on that with Yod. Kind of not, we could talk about it here, but it's like so tangentially related to free-to-play. We'd be linking through Hearthstone and Heroes of the Storm. Yeah, we have covered it as news on the site. I just didn't want it to dominate a cast, being, 2 white guys and whoever the third host happens to be on most days. That might just give a weird impression, so... Obviously, terrible news. Stay on mmobomb.com for updates on it.
The only thing more dead than Heroes of the Storm is Blizzard's reputation.
Right. Yeah, no shit. Windshark, dub-bomb to the company I work for, giving me 3 weeks of paid vacation to catch up on games. Anno, dub-bomb for New World. Not perfect, but very fun. All right.
Can I get 3 weeks off of paid vacation?
No. I want to call out Nasagra here, who I couldn't read the whole thing, Nasagra, on the show, just in the interest of time. But Nasagra very much barded it up on the free-to-play cast on mmobomb.com and put an entire rhyming scheme answer to the question of the week last week. So go to mmobomb.com, click on the last free-to-play cast, 396, last week's, and check out Nasagra's bard poem. Yami Kami says, biggest A-bomb ever for Activision Blizzard. There should be a permanent A-bomb every week for that from now until the end of time. The end of time. I don't know if the end of time. I mean, I would like to see the problems fixed so that you don't need to give it an A-bomb every week. But at the moment, yeah. Jason.
Oh, this is free-to-play cast number 18,406,000,000, and we're still giving an A-bomb to Activision Blizzard. Anyway. All right,
and the audience at that time, what the hell's an Activision Blizzard?
It's Activate Blizz.
Is this a storm phenomenon we should be worrying about?
Is that what cavemen played?
Right.
Metallica fan 1442 says, A-bomb of the week, definitely all the horrible news coming out of Activision Blizzard.
Yup. Cute.
Sakuras, thanks for reading my bomb. Your explanation made complete sense to me and was something I hadn't even considered.
I added this next just so you guys knew what was being talked about.
Thank you, because so many times I am confused. Yeah. This was about the power scaling of Path of Exile, and Jason had a counterpoint.
Yeah, so Charis was the one that said, I think they don't know how to make a game because the power is just out of control, and you talked about weapons and the style of game and why it is that way. You're very welcome. Jared
Thank
Nelson.
you.
That's disappointing. No story to the Yu-Gi-Oh game. Lol, ESO is not the worst. If anything, it's one of the best up there with Neverwinter for both having active combat blocking and evading, unlike actual worst MMOs like World of Warcraft, where it's not blocking and evading, but taking the hits, whereas just listening to a YouTube video cover specifically about New World, it sure sounded meh. Dub-bomb, I would actually say for Pokemon Unite. I have been enjoying it. It has been nice. You get to pick one starter Pokemon for free, and then there are free Pokemon for daily logins, as well as other ways to get free Pokemon like Zenora. One of the best Pokemon, it seems like right now, is free to anyone who logs in before August something. There's a Crustle you can unlock after doing its challenge. As well, love how short the matches are. 5 to 10 minutes. You don't have to worry about the matches dragging out. While your losing timer ends, the game just ends. So, hey, there you go. Dub-bomb to Pokemon Unite, the Pokemon MOBA nobody asked for. Go ahead, Jason.
Dark, or maybe it's Dark Hue, Dark Way, says, I hope Nexon adds a character creation so I can customize my human character as I want, and finally play as a human in a looter shooter game, what I cannot do in Warframe, so I can't wait to see more details of Project Magnum, and I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. Nexon's the thing that has me worried. Division 2 and The Division, that's a looter shooter you can customize your human character in. Go ahead, Q.
Ruel, as someone who dabbles in Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG and Duel Links, I 100% pay a box price or sub fee just to have all cards unlocked. I think all Yu-Gi-Oh! Players know the feeling of getting hard scammed by Konami with card releases, or just, scammed by Konami anyway. TCG is a little better since people can buy singles on the third-party market, but pulling packs is absolutely not viable for getting cord cards anymore, if ever.
Yeah, thank you, Ruel, for chiming in as an active Yu-Gi-Oh! Card TCG player. It's just the way I would feel about Final Fantasy, and knowing that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is infinitely bigger as far as the number of sets and number of years it's been running, I would assume that that's the way most players would want that one, too. Guessly says, A-Bomb to Lineage 2 Aiden just saw their launch packs. Deluxe pack, $35, has a ring which increases stats. I wonder what kind of in-game shop that game will have. Gonna check it out when I jump in. So keep us posted. Keep us posted. Go ahead, Jason.
I mean, I'll say that a lot of games in their intro packs give you some little thing that gives you a +2 stats or whatever, which is quickly outdone, but so I don't know about that. RS Java says, A-Bomb to Activision Blizzard, glad I stopped supporting them long ago.
Told you you'd hear a recurring theme throughout the weekly bombs this week.
And until the end of time.
Probably. Question of the week last week. Should MMORPGs, specifically MMORPGs, cater to solo players? Or make servers aimed at solo players? Why or why not? See how many of you want to play games MMOs alone here. Here we go. Blaze Saber says, question of the week, I don't think they should cater to solo players at launch. However, I do think devs should keep a card in their back pocket and code in a way to easily switch content to more solo-focused as the game gets older and the player base inevitably shrinks. Some older MMOs are almost impossible to experience now. There just isn't enough players for a lot of the content anymore. Blaze, it's a good frame of reference there. Final Fantasy XI does this very, very well. Back in the day, you could not progress if you didn't have a party. You just couldn't. It was once you get to level 18, that was it. You were done. You needed a party. Now you can play through all of that stuff and get to endgame and all that stuff solo through their trust system. So I do like this concept that you have there. Go ahead, Jason.
Just calling out Mystics in chat there with a bomb. The bomb to Goose Goose Duck for doing Among Us better than Among Us. A bomb to Games Workshop and Blizzavision.
Blizzavision.
Blizzavision. That's an acronym I haven't heard before. Abbreviation. Japan's Freaks is question of the week. Yes, I want solo servers because I don't have any friends. Simple as that. Aw, Japan's Freak.
We're your friends.
Yeah,
I don't want to play MMOs with you, but we're friends.
Oh, well, damn.
Misfit Ring, question of the week. Yes, I play MMOs to collect and show off my bling in towns. Occasionally a dungeon as a healer, so I can remember why people suck at MMOs that make me grind and show off my bling in town.
Misfit Rain, totally just hanging out in Limsa Laminsa, just sitting there.
I mean, that's my thing. Like, I want to play a lot of the MMOs for the story, but then I get to this point, and especially since I play DPS, where I'm just like, I can't go any further because I can't get a party like
You
on
know?
DPS. I have to drag Justin into XIV with me just to be a healer, just so I can get into a dungeon.
I don't know if I mentioned this before, but when I was playing Path of Exile, one of the towns I went into, I go in there, there's one guy who's completely blinged out, standing in one spot. Log in the next day, he's exactly in that same spot. Log in like 3 days later, he is in that same spot. He hasn't moved in like a week, and I'm just like, how are you avoiding like a logout timer or something?
Right?
Idle timer.
And
Because
why?
he was absolutely in the exact same spot, exact same orientation.
Because
Totally
you
not
pay
moved an inch.
good money for
Yeah.
PoE bling, and you want to show it off. And when you're out
Probably.
running around in the game, you're not really showing it off.
Whale showing off their stuff, says Ninja. Sujet says, question of the week. I think every multiplayer game could be better with scalable content in terms of how many people it needs. If content requires more people or is unscalable for some reason, allow companion NPCs to fill in slots. Yeah, just like the trust system we were just talking about in 11.
Guild Wars.
Yeah. I primarily play with one other person, and if we could do more of the content in an MMO without needing other people, it would be more enjoyable. I've always liked when games do like solo, duo, and even bigger dungeons. Ion, they didn't do them initially, but they did after a while, and then they took a bunch of dungeons out. But whatever.
Yeah,
I like
Locho
that type.
implemented that after a while too. Rigerty says, question of the week, MMO should have some solo content or things that can be soloed, but as the name says, you should be able to play that same content with others. I mean, hell, I play most of Warframe by myself. Not that I have big issues with the community, but when you get grouped with someone that is lower level than you, when you're in the higher end content, and they're going down every 2 seconds, then you should probably not be there yet.
True story. True story. Go ahead, Q.
Yamikami, I don't exactly mind solo friendly, but it should not be designed around solo play. And that's the problem I see sadly way too often in MMOs. That was one thing I really miss about Firefall. Content was hard to do solo, and that led to people actually playing together. It should not be impossible to play an MMO alone, nor should it be too tedious, but there should be reasons to do so. So basically, Yamikami actually likes people.
Yummy. I don't know what's wrong with you. Breckner Catalan, question of the week. For me, AI companions are the future. Running dungeons with your AI team made up of guys you get to pick, maybe even create, and level/gear up sounds fun to me. Right, but we already have, that's a different genre, isn't it? Like, now aren't we talking about playing games like the old Baldur's Gate, that type of stuff? Or the Divinity Sin, original Sin games and stuff like that.
One of the reasons I stopped playing Star Trek Online so long ago is because I had to level up and gear up all my little crew members or whatever. I was like, God,
that is, yeah, and you do go down with a party, and they do stuff. It's not like you're swapping out.
Yeah, just put them all in red shirts. And outside dungeons, you could have one permanent companion for easy mode, but with an incentive to play solo and challenge yourself. Like having gear look like crap when looted with the easy mode companion debuff on. Go ahead, Jason. Companion.
The call 2399, who is in chat, or at least was earlier, says, question of the week, MMO should 100% be made with solo play in mind. People try to be funny and point to the MM part of the name, but for lots of us, we only care about the O. The part that, I've heard that about some people. I know it. The part that gives us years of updates. The part that gives us years of updates to the systems and stories we care about. For those who care about the O, we play the game despite having to play with you. Yeah, for my O's alone, whatever. Not because of it. Let people play with others if they want, and alone with little or no penalty should they choose. God, T-Cal, what are you talking about?
Here's what's funny is I read the bombs and all that stuff when I'm putting the show notes together. I'm the only one that usually knows what's going to be said ahead of time. I know Jason doesn't look at them ahead of time, and I don't know if you do either.
I skim them to see
it's just
which ones you're probably going to give me.
Yeah, so I never and I have a perverted mind. I never read that question of the week answer and laughed at O-Face until you said it and you stopped. My mind. I have a sick mind, and even I didn't go there. But damn, Jason, that was good. That was good.
For your O's solo, well, talk to T-Cal.
People only care about the part of the name, but for lots of us, we only care about the O.
And the thing is, on that topic, it's kind of accurate.
It is. It's absolutely accurate. It is absolutely accurate. Question of the week this week. All right, I got to pull this away from Blizzard specifically because otherwise some of you are just going to answer like, I have always hated Blizzard, or I don't buy Blizzard products, so it doesn't matter. So maybe you're a Blizzard fan, maybe you're not. Doesn't matter. We'd like to know, though, from you, in your opinion, if your favorite game company did something that you considered really objectionable, and I think that is a very, very light way of wording what's going on with Blizzard. But if your favorite gaming company did something really objectionable, how easy would it be for you to quit their game? Or would you even quit at all? There's some people on the internet with the Blizzard stuff saying, yeah, I don't care as long as they make good games. I don't agree with them, but there are some people that have that opinion. So if a company, your favorite game, your favorite company did something that you felt you had to maybe quit their games, how easy would it be to do? Could you even do it at all? Or does it not matter to you? Let us know in the comments below. Don't make it specifically about Blizzard. We're talking about the general concept. You can give all the A-bombs you want to Blizzard, and we'll read them. But I want to take this question in a slightly different direction. We'll give your answers on next week's show. Don't forget your weekly D-bombs while you're there. D-bomb for something good, A-bomb for something bad in the world of gaming or life in general, or if you have a question for the panel. Remember, 400th episode coming up in 3 weeks. Q, until then, where can everybody find you?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Quentin.
Jason.
On Twitter at Winter Informal, streaming at twitch.tv/JasonWinter.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally right there at magicman1, but more importantly, follow at MMOBomb so we can tweet at you every time we go live with one of our streams, the free-to-play cast, first look videos, and so much more. Until next time, gang, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers. Later.